Good morning, Pelham Road. Well, today begins a three-part series, okay? So, got it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right? I haven't quite gotten a theme song that I like yet, but I do think we're going to do something with music this week. I don't know if we're going to get college football or not, but I thought I would break out some college football, marching band, fight song sort of things this week to just get us in the spirit. And if it's the only time we hear it this year, then at least we heard it once. All right. So this week's feature is I don't know if any of y'all will be familiar with this team, but let's see if you recognize this team. No, that's not Alabama. That is Clemson's Tiger Rag. All right. And in the comment section below, you can help me out today. I'd like you to answer this question if you could. What musical group would you most like to see in concert if you could see them in their prime? I'm not talking about old fat Elvis. I'm talking about the young Elvis. I'm not talking about 20 years after they made their hits, Eagles. I'm talking about the Eagles in their prime. So you put down who, and maybe you saw them in their prime, but who you would most like to see singing in their prime. All right? Well, in AD 312, the Roman Empire is up for grabs. Its previous emperor, Diocletian, divided the realm between two senior and two junior emperors. But this arrangement was collapsing and they were fighting amongst themselves. And one of these emperors, junior emperor, was Constantine. And Constantine was facing a battle against another of the emperors for some territory, and he had a smaller army and he had the worst position, and he just knew that he was going to lose. And so he spends the night in prayer. Now you got to bear in mind, he's just praying to a god, any god, to reveal themselves to him. And as the historians tell the story, he prayed for God to reveal himself to him and to provide him his right hand of leadership and to secure for him victory in this battle. Well, the next day, during the daytime, almost noon, it is reported by historians that Constantine saw this vision. Now, Constantine says he saw this vision. The historians wrote down that he saw this vision. And the vision was that in the sky, there was the sign of a cross. Now, this part of the cross was a spear. And then it had the other part that went across, the top axis. It also had some cloth on it, and it had the draping of the word conquer by this. And then it had, which of course was in Latin, and then it had the Latin symbols for Christ. Well, he had this vision. He doubted what he had really seen, and so he didn't do any action on it. But that very evening, he had a dream, and in that dream, he says, according to him, he had a dream, and that God came to him in the form of Christ, and again said, conquer with this symbol. And again, it was the same symbol, the spear and the crossbar, and conquer by this. Well, the vision the day before, the dream that night, the next morning he gets up and he gets together some of his gifted people with jewelry, gifted people with making things, gold workers, and those who worked with precious stones. He pulls them all together and he describes to them what he saw. And he said, I want you to put this on our shields. I want it to be, this is a spear going this way, then a crossbar. It says conquer with this on it, and it has the symbol of Christ. And I want that on the shield. And so they went to work doing it, getting this shield ready. The emperor constantly made use of the sign of salvation as a safeguard against any of his adversaries and any hostile powers he ran into. And he was victorious. And he commanded that this symbol be carried at the front of his army. So let me just review. Constantine had a vision that tells him to conquer by this sign, and it's the sign of the cross. The cross he designed for his shields, and I think also for his helmets, has a spear on this long axis, and the name of the Savior on the shield itself. Now, I have a long history of doubting visions. The biblical ones, well, and there's only a few of those, I'm more likely to trust those. But these non-biblical visions, they usually lead to the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas. Look that up. Now, I wasn't there on this day in 312, but I've got something that I'd like you to ponder overnight before we come to part 2. And here's what I'd like you to ponder. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. Matthew 5. And he shall be called the Prince of Peace. Isaiah 9:6. And he who lives by the sword will die by the sword. Jesus' own words in Matthew 26. I ask you to ponder, does this sound like the kind of God who would say, conquer by this? We will continue tomorrow, but for now reflect on this. What else is done in God's name that likely does not have God as its origins? Have a great day. See you tomorrow.